Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Breathe More. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about burnout because I'm seeing it in all of my clients. Y'all are depleted, so exhausted, overwhelmed. No matter how much sleep you get, you still feel drained. And it's a big problem. With all genders, with all type of lifestyles, I'm just seeing it across the board. There's an estimated 54% of people in the US are feeling burnt out. And I want to talk about why and how this happens, some signs that you can notice within yourself to see if you actually have burnout, and then things that you can do to prevent burnout, and telling you a little bit more how I help my clients process feeling burnout and just overcoming it so that they're able to show up and do life in a different way that doesn't require that you're just giving, sacrificing, wearing yourself out to the point where then you end up in burnout. So, what exactly is burnout? Burnout happens when our body has been in a state of chronic stress. So, whether it is from childhood, I see that a lot where they grew up in an environment where there's a lot of trauma, unprocessed trauma, and it's just continued like the way that they have been able to survive and get to this point in their life is using a lot of those coping mechanisms that got them through as a child, allow them to survive. But as an adult, it just isn't working. It's draining them. They are still in survival mode, no matter how successful they are. I see this a lot in my executive clients, my founders of companies. They're killing it. They have the dream life that they always envisioned for themselves. They have the career, they have the money, they may or may not have the relationship, but their health and their body and their mental health has suffered. And they start to ask themselves, I have been working so hard. I thought that accomplishing all of these things would make me happy and fulfilled and proud and would silence that imposter syndrome, and I would no longer be worried. But all of that, even with all of the successes, they're still dealing with it. They're still questioning themselves. And so, with that, the bigger question is, so what needs to change? Or will I always have to live this way? And if so, I really can't handle this pace anymore. What used to work in my 20s and what I was able to push through is just isn't working anymore in my 40s. And maybe now they have even more responsibilities. So they're spread thin even more so than before. And it's really just affecting them. So that's how burnout can happen, from just chronic stress, unprocessed traumas that are still lingering and showing up, and you're doing life in a way that just isn't supporting more ease, more rest. The pushing through is just amplifying that stress and that catastrophic thoughts and cortisol levels. Your brain is just constantly on high alert. And so that's why you're feeling exhausted. That's why your body is reflecting back to you, hey, we need to change things because I can't hold this anymore. I can't carry this pace anymore. So, some of the signs that you might be experiencing if you are burnt out are feeling extreme exhaustion. No matter how much sleep you get, you are drained, and not just physically, but maybe emotionally, you're also feeling exhausted. With that, it can lead to being irritable, short tempered, snapping at people. That might also decrease your performance. So you're struggling with brain fog, or you're having a really hard time concentrating. You're having a hard time multitasking and juggling different things. Maybe you're not meeting deadlines. Maybe it's also manifesting as procrastination. And so you're just avoiding because you are so tired. You're not feeling motivated. And so instead, you're just scrolling, and then you're shaming yourself because, oh my gosh, I'm so behind, or I'm wasting time. And so it's this cycle, like the inner critic being so loud, in addition to the physical symptoms. A lot of my clients also struggle with health symptoms. So the physical symptoms might look like digestive issues, weight gain, chronic pain, headaches. Like, again, don't ignore this. This is your body telling you, I'm stressed out. I can't do this anymore like this. With that as well, you might see yourself being detached of things. So maybe you're not feeling as connected with people. You want to just like hibernate, hide in your house because you are feeling so stressed. And so you feel that if you just bunker down on the weekend and just lay on the couch all day, that will restore you, but it doesn't. Like your Sunday night comes around and you're still exhausted. And maybe with that now, there's some dread because now you have to start all over again. You're feeling so behind. And with that, then so overwhelmed. And so that might be some of these signs that are reflecting back to you. I am burnt out. And if you don't do something about it, if you continue in the same place, then that will just lead into more health issues if you're not already experiencing. Like, I have seen people, and a lot of times they actually come to do my work or work with me is because they've hit rock bottom. It's like, I've tried it all. I've done the therapy. I've gone to all of these doctors. They can't figure out what's wrong with me. And so I have helped them uncover like there's this underlying stuff that still needs to be healed, that needs to be processed, and also learning new ways to manage stress, to show up in your life differently, where you're not constantly going into panic or survival mode, but what are other ways to show up in life? Can we stop going into the people pleasing, the over delivering, also the feelings of like guilt, but with that as well, not being able to receive support, receive a compliment. Like, so I help them do life differently, basically. All right. So now that we know what burnout is, why it happens, let's talk about prevention. Like, what can we do to create a more sustainable way of living our life that still allows us to manifest our goals, yet at the same time to stay grounded? So, one of the things that I help my clients with is setting clear boundaries, especially women. I feel like we really struggle with boundaries. We struggle with saying no to things. We struggle with boundaries around our time. Y'all are so busy. You have so many responsibilities. You do so much stuff for so many people. And so it's really important to be able to be discerning with your time and what you agree to do, what you say yes to, and what maybe needs to be turned down or delegate to someone else. So setting clear boundaries is a good way to manage your time better and your energy. Because the other thing around that is that you might be surrounding yourself or interacting or dealing with people that are also draining your energy. So, as opposed to like energizing you or lifting you up or inspiring you, by the end of the conversation or the interaction, you're like exhausted. So, starting to be clear and like, what is going to energize me, what's going to make me feel good. And then obviously there's a lot of things that we still have to do that we don't want to do, but maybe we can create some space and time where we're just cranking it out and moving on instead of carrying it week after week on our to-do list and avoiding it because it feels too hard or it's something we don't want to do. That also is going to drain you. The other thing is prioritizing your self-care. And self-care is not just going to the spa. Like, self-care is really nurturing yourself. So doing things that are going to regulate your nervous system. With my private clients, the way that I do this is guiding them through a breathwork practice. And it's not just doing the active breathing. Also, as a clairvoyant and an intuitive, I'm channeling messages for them. So I'm able to help them do the deep healing work as well that oftentimes doesn't come through in a therapy session. So my clients are having breakthroughs like every single week, making the connections on why they're feeling the way they're feeling, why they are not trusting themselves, like why the same stuff keeps happening in their life over and over and over again. And so we do that deep healing work using the breath work, using guided visualizations. And then for me, as well as I mentioned, doing the channeled messages to help them immediately, quickly move through those blocks. With that as well, so breath work is a great tool to help get you in your body. And so you're able to really listen to what's going on. Your body will tell you where it's holding the stress, why it's holding on to it, what emotions are attached to it. So the more we listen to it and we actually give it what it needs, it's going to help restore your body. It's going to help you come out of that burnout state. As I mentioned, along with the setting boundaries, delegating is also really important. We can't do it all of my women in mastermind and my private clients, they are high achievers. They are really talented, good at doing so many different things. And so what ends up happening is that they just do it all themselves because it'll just be easier than to try to get someone else to do it for me. And also, my experience has been that when I delegate something, it's not done to my standards or it never gets done. And so then there's that disappointment and maybe some resentment. So, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. But that's not sustainable, right? And so we got to let go of that control about the perfectionism and just receive for help. Delegate and empower other people. Let other people show you love by stepping in and doing things for you. So that's another really important thing. And then also just realizing like what's really important? What do I need to do? And what don't I have to do? So, letting go of things, of tasks, of roles, of identity is another really big part. And that ties into seeking support. It's really hard to do this work on our own. Our life is a creation of so much of our unconscious beliefs, of old programming, of inherited programming. And so, if you are in a place where this is resonating with you, things are not working anymore, then you need the support for someone else to reflect back to you. Well, these are the patterns that I'm seeing. Maybe if we try doing it this way, you will get a different result, right? Because if not, we just get stuck in the same loop and create the same results, which is what got us to this place in the first place. So, this is how I help my clients. I work with my clients one on one. And so, what it looks like is at the beginning, we do a check in where we're talking about what came up for you, what were the activations, what's working, what's not working. Then we go into the somatic practice, we go into the nervous system regulation. And it's so amazing. Every single time that I hold space for my clients, they tell me, wow, I feel like I just went on vacation. I feel so rested. I feel so clear. I feel so energized. Of course, there's going to be moments depending on what type of healing work we're doing where sometimes they don't feel great. Sometimes it's like, oh, the grief that I've been avoiding came up. So, with that as well, with the healing, with being able to come out of the burnout, you have to be open and ready, or maybe not even ready, but just open and willing to do this work, right? To do things differently, to try something new, to feel whatever is there in our space, to process it so that you're not continuing to carry it and therefore draining you. So, my clients learn how to process and manage their stress, process anxiety. Anxiety, I feel like it's an emotion that there's other deeper emotions behind it. It's just kind of like this state of being where I'm not sure, I'm having a really hard time making a decision. Should I do this or should I do that? I'm just feeling on high alert. I'm feeling uneasy. I'm having a hard time doing life. And so then when I help them uncover what's behind that, then the anxiety starts to go away because there starts to be clarity and information and awareness. And then we can move through that. So there's so much nervous system regulation that happens, rewiring of their nervous system and also of their subconscious mind. They're able to start to set clear boundaries. They start to regain their voice as well, communicating to people what it is they need, what it is that they desire, what they're no longer okay with. And so all of that new way of showing up, empowered, clear, and confident allows them to get out of the burnout. And it might take time, just depending on how long you have been burnt out. So if this episode has resonated with you, if you are ready to get out of the burnout, I would love to connect with you and talk to you about my one-on-one work and help you start to even see the potential, start to reconnect with that sense of hope that things can be different for you without sacrificing your goals, without sacrificing the next level of achievements, of abundance, of wealth. Like, I want you to have all of that. Doing this work, overcoming burnout, doing things differently doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you're going to have less. If you desire to continue to have more in your life, I love and I'm really good at helping people do that. So I can't wait to hear from you. Click in the show notes to click a call with me so that we can talk and I get to know you better and what your challenges are. We'll even do a little mini healing session so you can start to get a taste of how I connect with my clients with your soul, help you move energy, help you feel validated, and we can get you out of the burnout. All right, friend, thank you so much for listening. Let's take some deep breaths in and out before we completely log off, turn off. Just start to help your body feel a sense of peace, to slow down, and know that you are safe, that you are supported, and you're not alone. I look forward to connecting with you real soon. And don't forget to breathe more. Bye.